I can't help it.
I just choose not to wear that.
You want to select a card and.
Okay, I did that already, so I'll
Okay,
pass it down here.
They're alphabetical.
You like Ross Martin? Oh, wow, that's it.
All the rest.
This one? Sure.
Which one are you? I don't think Mark Lewis?
Yes.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to be at the September meeting, so I'm meeting some of you for the first time.
Yeah, yeah.
Grab a seat.
And if you see Peter Staffel, because he says he's gonna sit here.
Okay.
Same family.
We do. It's kind of good, I think.
Over here.
See who's here.
Let me get your name tag.
Everybody already knows you.
I was confused too. I thought I'd walked into a mirror universe and I was.
The card, they have them down on that end. What is your name, and I'll go ahead and put your. Okay, nice to meet you. He's still on the rehab.
Different. You're all like.
Maybe he's been ousted.
Not your public.
There we go.
Right. But I assume you're going to a mall.
You don't happen to have Peter Staffel's name thing, because there's not one in there. He's gonna sit.
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay. He said he's gonna sit here.
Thank you.
Lori Andrews.
Is now joining.
I'm sorry, you just joined by phone?
Once you get. Sign in yet? I'm gonna pass that along. If you need a pen, you get them. I'll put it up to sign in too.
There'll probably be some left for you.
I doubt it. Not with Jack.
It will be, yes, I'm just gonna. She's the person who directly. Got it.
Mind your manners.
Whenever you come.
I'll come down with you.
Yeah, he's at Capital Market.
Yeah,
But Mary
probably
Beth's official
right,
pharmacy.
Good, good.
Heard you bought all of the Seminola bread.
And we'll still get in.
He wanted more. He said, we only have.
All of a sudden, we're
Oh,
like, really?
wow.
Take them all. 'Cause we
Wow.
were gonna get 8.
Nice.
I-
You're at it now.
Next time, I won't buy it all next time. If you really want it, we'll give you one of these.
No.
You're in. Oh.
It's on the
We
east.
don't have them sliced. We can put them in the
Yeah,
freezer.
just put them in the freezer.
They're great.
Mm-hmm. Sounds
We're
good.
finishing the last one right now.
Oh, so perfect
Perfect
timing.
timing, yeah.
Your ticket.
I just now did.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. I just wanted to make sure.
Tickets for that one.
Yeah, why don't?
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna listen. I said if we lived here, we would go, we would wanna go every week. We're gonna make Mark talk to us personally and redo it for us. Mark Harshman.
Yeah.
I went to Huntington and saw that show with.
Angela?
Yes.
Everybody on the call.
Yes, I can call roll with.
Yeah.
Okay. Gloria Andrus. Becca Aranda. Georgiana Atkinson. Julie Blackwood.
Here.
Bonnie Brown.
Here.
Sarah Krickenberger.
Here.
Terry Floyd. Nick Breeden.
Here.
Brian Brian's here. Elliot Hicks.
Here.
Oh, hi, Elliot.
Anyway.
Sally Howard. I think she was unable. Betty Ireland.
Here.
Keith Jackson.
Here.
Eva Jones. Mark Lewis.
Here.
David, is it Living? Living.
Here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Brian Lilly. Hi, Brian.
Perfect timing.
Renee Margot. Cecilia Mason.
Here.
Bobby Moore. Robbie Moore, I'm sorry.
Present.
David Moran.
I'm here, thank you.
Elaine Park. Shauna Ferris.
Card, any kind.
Rita Ray. Here. There you are. Karen Rice.
Here.
Lori Ruberg.
Here.
Peter Staffel.
Here.
Mark Sunstrom.
Present.
Christine Villamagna.
Here.
Oh, hi.
You said it's Villa Magna. You got it. It's a lot of letters.
Walt Warren
Here.
and Tom Witt.
Here.
Thank you. We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. I'll call the meeting to order.
This is Lori Andrus on the phone. Sorry if I missed the roll call.
Oh, thank you, Lori.
First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. They were distributed. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Sure, so moved.
Elliot moves. A second. Peter seconds. Are there amendments? Discussion. Not. Motion is to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is the treasurer. Peter?
You've got a handout in front of you, 3 pages. Page 1 is always continuing good news. If you notice how we, year to year, we continue to sort of grow, an 8% increase and 25% from 5 years ago, which is really kind of exciting. Of course, inflation probably undermines that a bit. But that's all positive. A couple things to explain very briefly, and Tammy will do serious explaining if you need it. The retained earnings, if you notice down there during the pandemic, and I think we talked about this a little bit last time, we encumbered funds since we couldn't really spend them during the pandemic. And that, if you'll notice that there. And if you go on to the next page, the income and expense report, under expenses, you'll see some that seem surprisingly high in comparison to what they were before, like travel and training. 59,000 from zero last year. Well, the zero last year was a COVID problem. And so we're getting back on speed that way. And also, Butch is really keen. We've got a lot of new employees too. And so we're doing a lot of traveling and particularly training. So that's what that's all about. And that's a very positive thing. The premiums and promotions, that also seems to have gone up a lot. And again, if you remember, we talked about one of the things that we're doing is we're traveling a lot through the state and going to various events. We have the kits for the people who are going to be at those and setting those up and then keeping them full of goodies and swag is not cheap. And so that's what that expense is. And one little interesting item on postage that we just learned at the Finance Committee. Did you know that you can get like a debit account at the post office? This is so cool. We have 2. And so there's suddenly a big bump in that there. And part of that is that you pay a bunch in and then you just have to use like a debit card on it. Whereas if you go through the actual bureaucratic sort of spending procedure, and something like 5 people have to sign it, and it's enormously cumbersome, especially if you're each event that you're mailing, even if it's small. So this is a very clever thing that our staff has done, and the post office has done. So I just had to tell you about that.
May I just interject
Sure.
something that has nothing to do with your report?
Oh, I thought
But I just learned yesterday that the cost of a first-class stamp is gonna go up the first of the year to 63 cents.
buy your forevers now. Say the moral of the story. Yeah, let's bump up the count a little more. And the last sheet there is an itemized list of our 10% funds that we've got. Also, you will, in your stack of requests, you'll have a big
Elaine
packet of
Park
I think we'll be
is
going
now
over those
joining.
when we, during the meeting. But that's just a quick rundown on them. And if you have any questions, I probably can't answer them, but I'm sure Tammy can.
Thank you, Peter. We'll defer questions. I see Bob Thompson is joined us.
Bob Thompson.
Welcome, thanks for coming in. Hello.
Hello.
Bob's having his 50th anniversary show on.
Joy to the world.
Bob Thompson. Oh, is he there?
Special guest, his name is Darrell Owen from Vermont, to be with us. And I have another special guest. His name is James Moore. So we've been having an instrumental guest each year. So James is a trumpet player, but in his spare time, he's president of West Virginia Wesleyan. But he's a jazz player, and that's how he started up there. And now he's the president. So he's taking this opportunity to hang out with us with Christmas music. So it should be a lot of fun. So,
I saw the car.
yeah, that's his car out there with the flames on it. Yeah. But we love, for you to come and if you're looking for a way to start your Christmas season, this is it. We just got to spread some joy. But also just to thank you for all the support, because we wouldn't have made it 30 years without your help and your support. So we appreciate that. And just want to let you know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you. Appreciate you.
Monday was Bob's birthday.
That's what I was going to just say. Happy birthday.
We'd sing, except that's probably not.
Now you have to, guys in the band, you have to give me some respect now. I reached the 8-0.
Congratulations, happy birthday.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Do you have a coconut cake coming? That's what I want.
Oh, I wish.
Thank you.
Hi. Are there questions for Peter? Or Tammy on the treasurer's report?
I just have it's just because I'm learning this, like other expenses. What does that kind of fall into? You have a $15,000, obviously you spend a lot more coming up than you will.
Other expenses include association dues,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
and the registration, with other states to solicit funds, things like
Okay, all right, thank you.
Especially for the new members, don't be reticent about asking questions. We all need to know how the organization works to be good ambassadors for this organization. Other questions for Peter or Tammy? Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Bonnie moves.
Second.
Second. Discussion? Not? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Report's approved. And we're to the chairperson's report. We met with the EVA. They're well on their way to planning for the anniversary of the organization and the event that they're going to have for that. And so that will be coming up when it's officially.
Mountain States?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be, September. The 40th anniversary celebration will be September. There's a meeting coming next week,
Tuesday.
is that right? Adam?
We'll have more, hopefully more details finalized by then, and, Danielle Waltz has been great to spearhead a group of volunteers, help us have some sort of an anniversary celebration, probably a farm to table. Hey, everybody. Danielle Waltz from the EBA board has helped us organize a group of volunteers to hopefully throw on what will be a farm to table style dinner celebration of the Mountain Stage 40th anniversary, sometime in September. I think it's going to be a Wednesday night in September.
So that'll be a big deal.
Wonderful. And that would be at the Salt Works?
Most likely, yes. Yeah, I believe so. And with y'all's support,
Great.
I think we requested some seed money to help cover some of the initial costs for that, and the rest will be hopefully made up in sponsorship.
We changed up the seating here so that we could be looking at the people on the screen at the same time. So hope this works. See how it does. We've also, the executive committee has also decided to try to streamline the meeting somewhat. So rather than hearing from all the department heads, we're going to just hear from Butch. The department heads will be here, and they'll be available for questions if we have questions. So again, don't hesitate to ask questions if you have questions of the various department heads. The last thing I want to report is we got good feedback on the picnic that we sponsored and provided for staff that attended. So that was very well received. Are there questions for me? Okay, so on to the 10% request, a number of those. So, Marilyn, are you going through these or who's?
Well, I can. You should have gotten, you should have the materials in your packet. And this is almost what we talked about at those, just been a very slight change since the meeting. But the first one in your packet is the newsroom training, and you've got the director himself here to answer any questions. That's $10,000.
Just real quick, actually after Chris Barnhart conducted training for the video staff recently, and he introduced me to the trainer he was using. I have a pretty new staff of reporters, and they're not all originally trained in audio to begin with. So I'd like to bring back the same trainer that Chris used for the video production people. We're all competent with Adobe Audition, which is the primary editing software we use. Something tells me there's a whole lot more we could be doing. So that's why we've asked for this training. And what it'll actually be, because I've got reporters kind of far flung and I can't also shut down producing the news, we'll have to do split sessions and that sort of thing. And the same trainer will also be able to do some supplemental training for video production at the same time. So that's the gist of it.
There'll be more reporters. There are more reporters available now, thanks to the bloodletting at the Gazette.
We're certainly paying attention to that. That's a mess over there. But.
Are there questions about the 10% request? Is there a motion to approve the 10% request for the newsroom?
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Not questions for $10,000 for newsroom. All those say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion's adopted. Production Studio 304 pilot episode.
Yeah.
The purpose of the program is we're going to create a show that highlights local talents throughout West Virginia, our band, soloists, whatever. It's going to be like a local interview, showcasing where they're from, their read goals and what their desires are, and show some of their music. In order to do
There's no sound.
No sound.
Good morning.
So, you want to start from the top?
So the way Butch explained this to the executive committee is, if anybody remembers, Daryl Hall's show, Live from Daryl's House, it's gonna be kind of like that for radio. And we'll do one of these, and hopefully, if it goes well, then we'll be able to get sponsorship for, to make this an ongoing thing, to showcase performers from our area, or Appalachia, so I think it's really got a lot of promise. Other questions, Chris? Not, can I get a motion to approve the production of Studio 304 pilot?
We'll move.
Second. The moved and second, is there discussion? Not, the question is to approve $5,000 for production Studio 304 pilot. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion's adopted. Finance PBMA conference, $6,000.
That's the, financial conference that Public Media Business Association puts on. There's a lot of attendance from CPB members. CPB does training on how we need to do the annual reports that we do, which determines how much grant money we get. There's also sessions on compliance for CPB and, other things related to, finance and business. And that's gonna be in San Diego this year.
Other questions for Tammy? If not, I get a motion to approve the finance PBMA conference, $6,000.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Not, the question is, to approve the finance PBMA conference for $6,000. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? By the motion adopted.
Aye.
And the
ABT
Delete.
Station Summit and Mountain Station Kennedy Center.
By the way, that phone won't be here the next time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm absolutely serious about that, folks. Volunteer, just so you know, Volunteer West Virginia, leases this half of the second floor, have for the last few years, and, they are, leaving, and moving into a different facility, in March, and, we'll be taking over this half of the second floor once again, and, you know, I don't think it's any secret if you've been around the building, this half of the second floor is the nicest part of the building. So, we'll be glad to, be able to do that. We're a little bit crowded, and, it's going to allow us to take the building and put, all of the members of each department in the same location, rather than having them spread out all over the building. I mean, it just makes sense. You know, for example, up on the third floor now, I'm there, HR is up there, Mountain Stage is up there, video production's up there, the news department's up there, and it's all just kind of a jumble up there. So, we're working on a plan to, get everybody, situated in the building, so all the departments are together wherever they're at, not on different floors, actually. So, that's what'll be taking place. So this table will be gone, these chairs will be gone, and so won't the phone. So, anyway, America's public television stations will be having their public media summit, in Washington at the end of February. And, that's what this appropriation is for my attendance. It's really, they haven't had, the group attend in person in the last 2 years, but it's really, our opportunity to also lobby as a group on on Capitol Hill, which we will be doing during that time. And just prior to that, the request is to let me stay an extra night prior to, because Mountain Stage will be performing at the Kennedy Center again on Friday, February 24th. That was just announced yesterday. So you need to know that. If you can be there, it will be great. I know I was on my weekly call with the executive committee of the EBA today, and there's some thought with that executive committee that they would like to see us potentially host a reception in Washington at that point, and bring all of our not only our 2 senators and our 2 Congress representatives, but bring their staffs together as well. So we're going to be doing some planning on that, and I'm sure you'll be hearing about that later. But the thinking is to get all those folks together while we're there and for that event. So if you've got an interest in being in Washington on the 24th, you might want to take a look at the information that's out there. And we're actually be in a smaller venue within the Kennedy Center, right?
It's called the Terrace Theater. It's close to 500 seats, closer to the Culture Center.
Yeah.
Are
So,
seats on sale now? Are tickets on?
The Kennedy Center members, it's on sale now. It goes on sale Friday at noon, I think.
This Friday.
This Friday, yeah. Or it might be 10 a.m.
so if you have an interest, we'd love for as many people to be there as possible. And that's the details of the request.
Questions for Butch or Adam?
I think Butch should be able to stay that extra night.
Thanks, Adam. I'm going to do your
Annual evaluation. Are there other helpful comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve the request for American Public Television Station Summit and Mountain Stage going back to the Kennedy Center, 2,500.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second question. Will that be televised?
No, ma'am.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there discussion? Not? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Declare the motion adopted. Holiday gift card for staff, $25 each for 79 staff.
And we included the language from the Ethics Committee, and I think Betty was watching this for us.
And we are limited. We are limited to that $25
Yeah.
from.
That's all we can do.
So,
Yeah, we had a long discussion with this. $25 is not really adequate, but we can't do anything about it, so. And we want to make sure that the staff knows that we wanted to do more, so we have another catered staff luncheon, 2 of those for Christmas and Valentine's Day, which is.
Hello?
So
This is Elaine Park, and my sound is almost gone.
How about everybody else? Can you all hear us?
Not well.
Brian, you're kind of mumbling, Brian. Are you near the phone? Are you near the phone?
You near the speaker? Yeah.
This is Elaine Park telling you that suddenly the whole sound of the meeting got so low that I can't hear any of it. I don't know what happened there. Maybe something technical there.
Butch has made arrangements for us to have a new phone booked for our next meeting, so throwing out his other tenants. Is this better? Can you all hear me better?
If you speak loudly, keep speaking loudly.
That's better. It's getting better. It's getting better. Sorry to bother everybody about this, but I want to hear.
It's pretty much annual.
Correct.
Per annual, okay.
Because we also had a long discussion whether the fleeces would count against this.
Mm.
And so we had to figure out how we could work with that too, so we made arrangements. You can have like a uniform or a special gift, like an award thing, there are exceptions. So we dug out the Ethics Act and looked all this up to make sure that we weren't committing any violations.
Did you take the quiz at the end of it? I had to do that every year.
Okay, any other questions about the holiday gift cards? I move that we approve that. So, getting ahead of me, there you go.
Mark Lewis.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, is there discussion? Not? Holiday gift cards for staff, $25 a piece. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's adopted. Let's go ahead and go to the catered staff luncheon for Christmas and Valentine's Day for $5,000. Are there questions about that?
Are we skipping one here?
Yeah, I just explained the other one, so I figured we'd go ahead and vote on it. Is there a motion to approve the two staff luncheons?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded, is there discussion? Not, the question is, two catered staff luncheons for Christmas and Valentine's Day at all three locations, by the way. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's adopted. The next one is what Peter alluded to in the treasurer's report, where we've got to reload all the promotional giveaways that we're taking around the country to try and improve membership. Christie, you want to speak to that?
Sure. So that's the document I have given with you.
Yes.
Yep.
I can speak to it. I can tell you that, the education department and marketing have really, developed a great partnership this year. And so when we look at those giveaway items and that swag and those materials, we're collaborating. And so we're making purchases that we both can use. Pens and bags end up as a big ticket item for us. Maggie's team has been to events where they'll need at times 300 pieces, in hopes that everyone there would be able to walk away with a bag or a pen. So those are the two requests at the top. They are nicer pens than your average giveaway trashy big pen. They do have a stylus at the top. And I know that in their case, they're using them with iPads and with phones and encouraging folks to actually complete a survey or sign up for newsletters. Challenge coins and geocloth, those are two items that Butch and I have been working together
Where do,
on.
Mark Sandstrom?
Items.
Is now exiting.
Sorry, talking. Those are just some higher end items that primarily administration will use to promote the organization.
What's a challenge coin? I'm not, what that is.
Yeah, you have the example.
I do not have the example. They're metal die-cast coins that will have the colored logo on one side and then telling West Virginia's story on the back. So they're really nice. It was something that Butch brought to me a sample and was like, can we look at something like this? And so I know that that they'll use them.
When I attended the APT Fall Marketplace last month, there were
Mark Sundstrom.
There were a lot of different
Is now joining.
Set up, and you saw these on a lot of those displays, and we wanted to get. We're not getting. What are we getting? 250. Yeah, we would like to have those out there because, you know, believe it or not, when you go to, these different events and Christy's been to, is it 15?
15.
We had 15 since May. You'd be surprised, you know, people are interested in that little, it doesn't even matter what it might be, but, you know, we're just trying to, keep it fresh. The other thing that's on there, they are microfiber cloths for you to clean your glasses, your phones, stuff like that. It's just something that people might use or collect, or something that's got our information on it. That's what we're trying to do with the promotion.
And do you think people collect coins?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
They're
can
very
say
big
that
in the military.
we use the, you've all seen the socks, familiar with the socks. Eddie and I kind of started this surprise and delight kind of, approach at our, on-sites, where if someone came up, because people want to come up, and Peter can attest to this, they want to tell you all about how much they love public broadcasting. Well, then we would say like, oh, well, we've got something special for you, and you know, so I could see where the coins would be much in that same way. When you have someone who is a true believer and sustainer, they're gonna take away with that.
And I make them work for it.
We've got lots of photographs to prove it.
When I was with the American Pharmacists Association, we used to sponsor a military conference for the pharmacists in the military. And we had these coins made up for them, different one every year, and people really wanted those things to add to their collection. It's really prestigious thing. Are there other questions for Christy?
I have a question. This is Betty. In addition to our name, does it have any contact information on these promotional items?
Not on we will have an informational card that can be scanned inside the cases, with the GeoCloth. That's in there, and you'll be able, it's the QR code, correct?
Correct.
And it'll take you right to the information that we've got. Those don't come with the coins. We can order that. We wanted to see what kind of popularity there was this, but it does have the West Virginia Public Broadcasting on that coin itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think the QR code is wonderful. Anybody, those of us who've been in state government, and, you know, the handouts, people just grab them by the handful, and sometimes they're useful and sometimes they're not. And I think anything and everything we can put on there to drive them to our website, it would be helpful. So I would suggest that we do the QR code.
The drawstring bags do have the website address as well as the social handles. So, you know, and again, encouraging people to dig a little.
Perfect. Thank you.
Other questions? Not, is there a motion to approve this 10% request for refilling in new promotional items for $7,700?
So moved.
For second? Seconded, is there discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's adopted. Event attendance underwriting. Carolyn?
Yes, that's my department. We are trying to get our underwriting people out more, business after hours, the capital market event, and variety of things around the state. One thing that has come up recently is the issuance and eggs breakfast meeting. We're members of the chamber, but we, you know, all these things cost money for people to go. And we were thinking, well, we might get a table, and that way we could take 10 people. And it might be for some of the board members who are so inclined. For the people in Charleston, it would be easier. But I would like to have some money to be able to pay for this and other things that we have, and I can see before March, there will be some things up to 1,500.
Questions for Marilyn? Now, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved and, is there a
Second.
Seconded. Is there discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion's adopted. Training, testing, development for CFR.
Okay, this is me again. It's for a member of my staff. And I have said that, before I retire, I want another CFRE in our team. Just because, we get questions from time to time about trust and things like that. And it's good that you might have a general knowledge and then direct them back to their financial advisor or attorney. But I do have a staff member that's working on that, and they need to have another series of tests before they can get their certification. So,
Certified fundraising executive.
you know that's right.
It's a wild guess.
So we would really appreciate that.
Questions for Marilyn? Can I get a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Second. It's moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Not. The question is to approve $500, up to $500 for event attendance or training, testing, and development for certified fundraising executive. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion's adopted.
I'll say one thing, Mr. Chairman, about that. One of the things that, when I gathered the department directors back in October for our retreat for planning, one of the things that came up in our conference was to develop apprenticeships within our organization, and this kind of falls under that because, as we all know, we'll move on, and then the next generation will come in, and some of us are getting a little long in the tooth, and we'll be moving on, and we would like to set up people within the organization to be ready to move in, either on an interim or a permanent basis. So that's one of the areas that we're going to be focusing on as we move forward, and I just wanted to let you all know that. Maryland does have this request in for a member of the staff, and you may be seeing more of that as time goes on, as we, move to, expand people's knowledge and prepare them to assist when, we have a vacancy, and they happen all the time.
Thank you. The next, that's $42,175 now. The next item is, this is a contingent request. We may not spend it. There's a good chance that we're not going to need to spend this, but
Maggie is not here today. She's
okay.
out. Autumn is here. I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of the background to it, and she can answer any questions. And also Americo Valdez, our director of grants, are here. But we have a proposed pilot project for Boone County, an education project that we're seeking funding for, and we applied to the Benedum Foundation. And Jen Giovanetti, who is the executive director and president of the Benedum Foundation, contacted us, and prior to that, she had gotten in touch with the folks at the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation and said, hey, this may be a better grant project for the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation than it would be for Benedum at this time. And so Greater Kanawha Valley turned around, asked us to apply and have the project applied, and we are now waiting for an answer from the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. In fact, Americo and I were talking this morning. We're just kind of, we've been out there, but this project, we expect it to be funded. The Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation has a fund specifically for Boone County, and we feel very good about the application that was submitted and the interview process that's taken place. And, you know, we're expecting that grant to be approved. But in the meantime, we needed a backup because we are using that for NIP credits to be able to extend to some of our donors. And Maryland has a list of how many, Maryland?
Well, we I don't know the exact, I think it's maybe 14 or 15, but we got $30,000 worth of NIP credits this year, which was much more than we got last year. And they're all spoken for, but I didn't feel comfortable releasing them until we knew we had the project funded. So that's why we're just asking for a backstop, because these people wanted to make their donation by December 31st, and I think they're almost all in, aren't they, Ange? So, and that's $30,000 right there.
It's coming right back to the organization, and this request is for a backup for that grant. Like I told the executive committee last week, I'll never say never that we won't get it, but we feel very good about it. We are going to proceed on that education program pilot in Boone County. We feel very strongly about it, and I think that I think it's going to work out for us. But this contribution is a backstop for that program in case we do not receive the grant.
I have a question. Is this the total cost of the project then, or we don't have to match it?
This is not a match. This is the total cost of the project, and we expect Greater Kanawha to grant us the $50,000. But if you take a look, is there another sheet other than that one that's in the packet for the program?
Well, we've got the in there.
I think there was America, wasn't there like a $22,000 in kind to the grant that we're doing for our staff salaries and things?
Yeah, anytime that we approach, well, many times we approach for a grant, we're gonna say, my time, Maggie's time, Autumn's time, staff time, even, small purchases, we do consider that a matching source to the grant itself.
I just have a question. The NIP credits, are those matching funds that are pledged, or what exactly is that?
For people who want to make a donation. I'm echoing. Those donations are doubled, if you will.
Okay.
So if you get a $500 NIP credit, you must make a donation of $1,000, and I probably said that backwards. But you have to make at least a $500 donation to be eligible for a NIP credit, and
Thank you.
Goes against your state taxes.
Yeah.
So, I have another question, which is, I saw a reference in the description of train the trainers. So will this project then be able to be replicated in other target areas? But most of the cost, most of the expense will have already been made for this, with this.
Correct. This is a pilot. This is a pilot program, and we picked Boone County because it was close by to pilot the program before we try to go out into different parts of the state to do it. So, and we've got everybody on Boone County is on board, and they're excited to make this happen. So it is a pilot, Rita, for us to take it into other parts of the state, yes.
But then a pilot so that, and it will be demonstrated that it's effective, and then able to pursue other funding. Okay, thanks.
It's important to note that Benedum did not deny this grant because they didn't think it was a worthwhile project. They just thought it was more efficient to get the money from the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation rather than from them. they believe in the project too.
And I would like to say this, in my discussion, with Jen, they did reach out to the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation because they felt they were more suited to it. And in the same breath, she invited us to apply for another grant for Mountain Stage, and that $55,000 has been approved to assist during 2023 with our musical talent that's brought in for our shows. So we, thanks to the Benedum Foundation, have a grant that's going to allow us to bring in some bigger names to Mountain Stage here in Charleston. So, and I know Adam has been working on that. He's got his fingers crossed. But Benedum did turn right around. We had the $50,000 request and invited us to apply for the other grant. So, and I think it's going to work well for us. I think everything went well with the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation, and many of you in the room know about Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation and participate in that. So we have a pretty good feeling.
This is Lori.
Other questions?
Yes.
Lori?
When you get ready after the pilot, that we're going to plan for 6 months. When you're looking at other areas where it may be implemented, perhaps this is where board members can help out, because I know that the Community Foundation in Ohio Valley would be a great place to help get funding for an implementation in the Northern Panhandle. And throughout the state, I'm sure board members have community foundations around the state. And I just suggest that I'm on the education committee. Maybe we can help out when you're ready for further implementation. So sounds like a great project and a way to get board members more involved.
Other questions or comments? Not, can I get a motion to approve this backstop request for Boone County Education Project?
I move.
Is there a second?
Am I
Second.
Is there discussion?
Second.
Who did what?
Mark,
Mark,
and then read
and
it.
then read it, okay.
Or vice
Thank-
versa, it doesn't matter.
Is there discussion? Not, questions to approve the contingency, $50,000 in case the Boone County Education Project does not get funded. All those in favor say aye.
Wait.
Aye.
Aye.
Are we
Aye.
approving the 1,500 or the?
No, this is.
50,000.
50,000, we've already done all of these. This one here.
Where the NIP credits are being held.
Yeah.
to offset.
When will you hear? Do you anticipate a date when you'll know if it's approved or not? Sorry.
We anticipate we would have heard by now.
Okay, so it's right coming.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, that's the entirety of the 10% request. The next item on the agenda is committee reports, and I will take this opportunity to applaud the various committee chairs for getting these committees organized, and also staff that has worked with them so that we can be more active and help the staff do their jobs and use the expertise that we have on this board and leverage that much more to the advantage of the organization. So with that, I'll call on, we've asked the staff and the committee chairs to put in motion getting organizational meetings underway, and some of them have been able to meet. I've asked each of the chairs to make a very short report. Sarah Krickenberger for the Education Advisory Committee.
Yes, we had our first meeting on December 1st, and I think I can speak for the whole committee in saying that we learned about things none of us had known about before. If anyone is interested in getting our minutes, shoot me an email and I'll send them to you, because there's a lot in there that I won't cover today. But I think the one thing that Maggie wanted to get across to everyone is please sign up for the education newsletter. If you go to tv.wvpublic.org/education, you can sign up for her regular education newsletters, and that's where you will find out about all of the new projects happening, updates on what she's got going on. For instance, the annual West Virginia Writers Contest starts in January for students. And last year, they took the winning student's story and turned it into a short film. And they're planning to do that again this year. I would not have known that if Maggie hadn't told me. So there are all kinds of things happening that we don't have time to hear about in our meetings necessarily. And you may not catch unless you sign up for her newsletter or now participate in the education committee. So please sign up for the newsletter, and she's also sending us regular updates to the education committee. So if you want to join us, let me know. Or if you want our minutes just so you can read up on what's going on, let me know.
Bonnie,
Question?
Bonnie has a question, Sarah.
Sarah, for those of us who can't write fast and whatever, can you include this information in the, whatever it is, notes that we get to the regular newsletter?
Yes, Angela, actually, Angela has our minutes, and that is in there. So if she wants to just copy it out and throw it, put it in the minutes, that would be great.
What's the name of the newsletter we get? The storyline? Notes of storyline in the storyline that we all get.
The problem with that is it's written way ahead of time. I mean, you're not going to get the current version of that for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
But we also have some newsletters that we compose and send out. So it's not that we can't get an email or something together. I think there is even an education newsletter that goes out pretty quickly. Storylines is a national pre-prepared print piece. So.
Other questions for Sarah? Well, Maggie's department's got the same challenge as the rest of the organization has, which is they're understaffed and have not enough hands to do everything. So we can really hopefully help them. We'll be able to do some additional stuff. They're doing great stuff now, but we can have the education committee and other committees be an extender of staff. It's going to be a big help. Thank you, Sarah. The next item is the Marketing Advisory Committee. Elaine?
I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Hey, you have a brief report?
Yes. I have reached out to, first of all, I'm very pleased that we have Christy Morey now heading up the marketing from the staff position, who has already been kind enough to give us a list of the general areas where she feels that our marketing committee membership can be supportive to her and the work she plans ahead on our behalf. I have sent the list of ideas that she has sent to me. We have spoken. I've sent that list out to my staff, out to my committee, and look forward to an initial meeting very early in the first part of the year, presumably a Zoom meeting. So there was a transition, as we all know. Christy's relatively new, so I'm looking forward to a wonderful new relationship between the marketing team and the marketing staff going forward.
Thank you, Elaine. Are there questions for Elaine? If not, thank you. Program Advisory Committee, Keith Jackson.
Yeah, hopefully everybody can hear me easily enough. Our committee met on December 9th, and we actually started with the idea of picking up the primary function and focus of the committee. And we pretty much decided that our primary focus would be to work with the staff to provide the Friends Board and the Friends of the Friends Board with clear, concise information that focuses on what WVPB does. So that way we can serve as better advocates and be ready to go on a moment's notice. By the way, I did send notes to Angela, but just about an hour and a half ago, so those are available to anybody. So we talked about the primary directives of West Virginia Public Broadcasting, and always making that a focal point. We also talked about making sure that we develop with staff a way to have consistent and timely method for delivering this information. We all know everybody's busy. Everybody, the week before a quarterly meeting, everybody focuses on what's going on. But to be effective advocates, you have to have information more regularly than that. So that was another focus of the meeting. Couple other things. We did discuss the upcoming legislative session and how we can better engage elected officials. Eddie gave us a lot of information about how program decisions are made, how programming has changed, especially now that some things that are traditionally viewed as public broadcasting are available on other platforms, and ideas about how to remain unique in what we program. The next meeting of the committee will hopefully happen before January 11th. So again, we can be active in providing information to the friends, and then the friends can magnify the reach by providing friends of friends with information.
Thank you, Keith. Are there questions? I have one additional comment. Keith and I have talked about this, and he made mention of it, about being advocates for the organization. Part of the function of this group is to be the tip of the spear to blunt people that are trying to politicize public broadcasting and say that it serves only the liberal agenda, and we are programmed by that agenda. And so the idea here is we're the Friends board. We put our money where our mouth is. We're West Virginians, and we have programming on here that we like. And we think it's important, and it's a lot more than just, people making political commentary, as you've already heard. And so folks, Eddie's educating the folks on this committee to be able to say, this is what we do. We're West Virginians. We endorse this content for West Virginians. And it's much more than a political tool. Other questions or comments? If not, thank you, Keith. It sounds like you're well on your way there. The last of the new committees is the Membership Advisory Committee. Renee?
Thanks. So, as like Elaine, I've had some other things that have consumed my attention, but I did reach out to all of the folks who were on the committee, and I sent the objectives. That was actually Brian Gallagher was very active in setting those objectives and strategies, so we can pick up on his good ideas. As far as a first step for committee service, I'm going to meet with Kathleen Bradley and Marilyn DeVita on the front end. And I know, Peter, you're on I sent you an email yesterday. Also, Julie, I realized that you're on the committee with me. So I'm glad that we're seeing each other in person. But first step, I'll meet with Marilyn. We'll work through what has been presented to you to see from a staff's point of view the best way forward. And then we'll convene, I would say, and hopefully Kathleen will be able to join us when we do that by the end of January.
Are there questions for Renee? Thank you, Renee. Are there other committees that have any reports they'd like to make at this time? If not, that brings us to the staff report.
Well, can I ask for one thing? We were talking about minutes for here, making them available. Might there be some way that we could have a link on the website to various meetings, just so, since we are a public organization, people could, if they wanted to say, geez, I wonder what they're looking into anything like this, programming, what's going on? Or is that too cumbersome?
What about it, Liz? Peter, we actually record this on YouTube, and it archives on there.
Okay,
the public can see this meeting.
That's good. That's good. Okay, thank you.
I'd like to thank all the committee representatives for their work.
Absolutely. It's a volunteer organization, so it's a big ask, but particularly for the chairs, so thank you all. very much. Staff report, Butch? Again, if you have questions of the department heads, you can do that, but at by request of several board members, we're asking Butch to just make the presentation.
It just so happens that the deadline for state agencies to get their budget information into the legislature has come up this week, and we're in the process of finalizing that document right now. It's called a budget book. And in this budget book, it really gives a pretty comprehensive look at the organization and what's taken place over the last year and what the budget is that's been proposed by the governor for this organization. And when we get this budget book finalized today and sent to the curator, we will be sending it to you, each and every one of you, via email. And I would encourage you to look at this, because my report today for you, I've been here just a little over a year now, and Eddie Isom and Christy Morey did a great job in getting this report together, and it really gives you a good look at what's taking place within the organization and what we've got going on. So I will make sure, how many times have you updated the document in the last 2 days?
27.
Yeah. Every time you go back in and take a look, and I just got up and showed her another thing that I noticed, there's something there, but it really gives you a great look. I mean, it talks about, our outreach that we've got out there and our programs. And my report to you today, you've heard a lot of the different things that are going on, but actually, Christy, and I'm sorry for you folks online that we don't have it to you. If you would like to give the members a copy of this right now, and you can have your copy now, and we'll send you the email copy, but it'll give you an opportunity to kind of follow along here. And, I'm not going to drag the report out, but I think there's a lot of things that you need to be made aware of as we go forward. And then while they're doing that, Mr. Chairman, I did have a question. I know that the Friends last year employed a lobbyist during the legislative session. Is that something that is being considered again for this year? Do you have a...
Well, we did, we had somebody that was doing legislative monitoring for us last year.
Correct.
So we have not discussed it. I think
Okay.
I think we should be prepared to do that, but I think that I sense the tenor of the legislature has changed, and the tenor of the EBA has changed. So we probably ought to have somebody lined up to be ready to do that, but I don't know that we need to. We'll have to have a discussion about it.
If you look at the cover page that you've got, it basically talks about our broadcasting reach and our reach on social media, and you can take a look, and the numbers are there, and they're pretty clear, and we've seen a good bit of growth over the last, especially 10 months. So you'll be able to take a look at that, but real quick, under education, our Above and Beyond program, which recognizes our outstanding teachers across the state, has become extremely popular. The nominations since last December for this program, which is done the 9 months during the school year, those nominations have increased 5-fold since that time. And our education department's done a great job of getting that word out. I will tell you, I was in Hedgesville yesterday at Hedgesville High School to greet and speak with our Above and Beyond winner. Her name is Laura Cochran, and we typically would do that the following month, but Laura is getting ready to undergo surgery Friday for cancer, and they don't know how long she's going to be off. But what I would tell you about this teacher is the independent panel that, that grades these applications that are sent to us, she scored the highest of any of the applicants we've had any month. So when those applications were returned and reviewed to us, we did notice that. So it was a great event over there yesterday with the Berkeley County Superintendent and the principal, and she was very thankful for that. And you know, they get a nice blue apple that's done for us specifically by Blanco, and a $300 check, and you know, that makes a difference, and the recognition is what is important. So I would tell you that. As you take a look on down, you know, it talks about the statewide events that our department's been participating in. It talks about Read for the Record. This year we had 250 books distributed. 9,400 children were read to in over 50 counties across the state on October 27th. And we have to make sure we have all 55 counties represented next year. But that program has taken a wonderful step. The high school, or not the high school, but the youth writing contest was great. And this year's recipient, we did do a program, and the co-star is back here to my right. And that young lady, I was up in the studio when it first started that morning, and you could tell she was very tentative about what was going on. I mean, here she is, the bright lights of the studio, and about 2 hours later, it's like she'd done it all her life. So it was a wonderful experience for her, and our staff had a great time with that production. And is the link?
Yeah, it's on
The link's still out there.
the link's on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
And it also airs on TV every now and then as well.
Right. So anyway, that we'll move forward again. We got a lot of response to that this year, and we hope to continue to grow the program. Our programming highlights, we've had 3 documentaries released during this last quarter of the year. Blue Demons, and you know, this was when I heard about it, and when I first came in last year, it was already in production. And John Hale, who is one of our video production folks in Morgantown, had been working on this. He had a couple uncles that were part of the record-setting North Fork High School basketball teams that Jennings Boyd coached. And, you know, if you haven't seen this documentary, I would really encourage you to take a look at it, because it captures what was happening back in North Fork in the days when that community thrived in McDowell County in the 70s and 80s. And it takes a look now. You know, North Fork High School is not there anymore. But John went back, he got with some folks, and he did a wonderful job in that production. And it's award winner in my mind, folks. I can't believe that it won't be there. I told John afterwards, after I viewed the documentary, that I'm like, oh well, there's you know, dozens of other people you can interview for this story and potentially do something, you know, with it. But you know, you have to pick and choose sometimes and get the product out there. But he did an outstanding job with the documentary, and I would encourage you to get online and check that out. Again, for those of you who are my age or older,
Lori
you've got to
Andrews
remember, if
Is
you
now
have,
exiting.
you have to remember what happened down there at North Fork, because everybody was afraid to play. Nobody wanted to play North Fork in basketball, including the AAA schools in the state. So I would encourage you all to take a look at that. You know, it's Blue Demons, a West Virginia legacy, and it absolutely is. And please get a chance to take a look at that. Communities and schools, they've got therapy dogs in the rooms now, and that turned out to be a great piece. And also John Nakashima, in his last documentary for West Virginia Public Broadcasting, just did a piece on finding David Ripple. And David Ripple is a Vietnam veteran who currently has a display at the Clay Center. John spent a lot of time getting that piece put together, probably along the lines of 2 years. And, I remember right before he finished it up, I'm like, well, how's it going? And he said, it's just a lot of editing because the guy didn't want to talk. And to be able to shoot a documentary with someone that doesn't want to talk, it's pretty difficult in my mind, but John pulled it off. So, and by the way, it's been 10 days ago now that John sent a notice in that he's retiring on December 30th, and that's after 47 years of dedicated and award-winning service to West Virginia Public Broadcasting. So if you have the opportunity, you can reach out to John and say thank you. John's been here 47 of 53 plus years. He is the longest serving employee of West Virginia Public Broadcasting and always will be. I think that's a pretty safe assumption there. So anyway, those are some of the things that are going on with programming. The first week of January, I'd like to notify you all or the first week of February, we'll begin promoting this the first week of January. PBS Kids is no longer going to be 6 to 6 with their programming during the week. They're actually going to stop the kids' programming at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. More and more the traditional setting in front of the television set is going away, and kids are on their tablets or iPads or phones, and PBS has made that decision. And what it does for us is it opens up a 4-hour block every day during the week for new programming. And Eddie and I have had a number of discussions about this, and over the next several months we'll be able to be putting new shows in there. But we've already got new shows that we've screened and taken a look at, and we're going to plug in there, and then we're continuing to look at that. So that's part of that evolving process away from taking a look at your TV. I mean, people are just buying what they want to watch now, and that's part of the process. So that's kind of an update on our programming. We had Dolly Parton. We were the exclusive producers of that this summer, and it was a great event over at the Culture Center. And Suzanne Higgins got to do an exclusive interview with her, which we aired, and we aired the event live in partnership with the Department of Education. Mountain Stage, Adam Harris and his team have been hard at it. They actually just got back from Boston last week at the Berkeley School of Music for a production up there. And Adam said it had been about 15 years since we'd been there, and he said it'll probably be another 15 before we go back. I guess some of the quarters, when you have numerous acts and only have 2 dressing rooms, it creates some challenges for people. And Roseanne Cash headlined that event, and it was a sellout.
1,125 seats.
Yeah, it was a sellout. That was great. Everywhere we go on the road with Mountain Stage, we're getting huge crowds. Our focus is now turned on putting 450 people into the Culture Center on Sunday nights when Mountain Stage is in Charleston, because those numbers have been down. And when we go on the road, we're wildly popular. So he's been working on marketing strategies with Christy, and we're moving that forward. And as we go into the 40th year, the 39th anniversary is Sunday night, and if you don't have tickets, I'm sorry. It's sold out, and it's been oversold. And it's Bela Fleck, right?
Yeah, Bela Fleck is
Yes.
a bluegrass
Yes.
band. It's an all-star group. He doesn't do very many 460-seat rooms, and so we're lucky he agreed to do the show. I think it's his 15th appearance on Mountain Stage.
Yeah. So so the 40th year celebration begins Sunday night, and one of the big events will be the fundraiser in September, but we are bringing in some bigger name acts to Charleston next year, thanks to that grant from the Benetton Foundation and the folks up there. Inside Appalachia, Bill Lynch has jumped right into that seat, and it's taken off. And along with the Folkways reporting program that we direct courtesy of the Margaret P. Cargill Foundation, things are growing leaps and bounds with that. And Americo Valdez came in the springtime, and he had to pick up the ball and run with that. We didn't have a program coordinator for Folkways, and things are in good shape with that, folks. And our last report with the Cargill people, and they're unlike any other organization that has grant funding for people. Most of the time the organization gives you the grant and you report quarterly, semi-annually, annually, and that's it. No, they're very active. They're very active in following what we're doing, and we do at least quarterly updates with them via Teams, in addition to written reports, and obviously with their $1 million plus grant that they've given to us for the Folkways reporting across Appalachia is important, but I think that they're extremely pleased with that. If you have some specific questions about Folkways, I would encourage you to contact Americo, and he can tell you about that. Also, the new chairman of the Public Broadcasting Foundation Board and the vice chairman of the EBA, Mike Farrell, he's been very active with that since he took over for Ted Armbrecht a few months ago. And my conversation with him was he's completely comfortable with where we're at. But if you have some specific questions about Folkways, contact Americo.
I do have one quick question. Will additional reporters be trained in the future, or it's just that cohort that was trained on the front end?
Oh, definitely. We are actively hiring. We've had a notice out for several weeks now. I believe that we have about 6 in the pool right now that are working directly with Bill. At a minimum, he's received their resume, credentials, and was reviewing them. So we had a reporters retreat in October, which was very successful, and we're looking to onboard new reporters hopefully by May, when we have our another reporters retreat. We do also have a fellow from West Virginia State University that will be starting with us after the holidays here at the beginning of 23.
Thank you.
What I would add to that is the number of pieces that are being produced has increased dramatically. Now we've got some structure within the organization. We hired a young lady that's finishing up her, she's finishing the master's, right? At Shepherd University as the coordinator for the program, and she has done wonderful work for us in getting she's got her arms around the people and is able to give them some guidance, and that's what wasn't happening before. These, you know, when you bring people in that are either they're doing it in their spare time or that they don't have any experience being a reporter, you've got to be able to train them and continue to assist them. And that's what the Folkways program is. We're trying to develop more reporters across Appalachia, and they weren't getting any guidance. And they're getting that guidance now. And yeah, I think definitely after the next 6 months, again, our production is more than the expectation that Cargill has put out there as far as the number of active pieces we have. And I think we're headed in the right direction. Our legislative coverage, legislature today returns to its old format, if you will, 30 minutes, Monday through Friday, starting with the State of the State address on January the 11th. And Eric Douglas is getting his news team prepared for the run, if you will.
I started out with beatings, to get them attuned for the.
We do have a studio host, which is a critical part of that program, and Bob Brunner, who has been around for a long time, and is very well known, is going to be our studio host for the legislature today this year.
Really?
Yes, ma'am, he is. And Bob is, you know, he's pretty spry for 77, I would say. And we've had a lot of great discussions with him, but Bob will be, he's really that, you know, he's that cement or glue to the program, if you will. We'll be, you know, the content is going to be generated and put together by our staff and our reporters. And Bob will be doing a lot of intro work there. But I would tell you that as far as our video production is concerned, Chris Barnhart, when he came in July, one of the things, and during his interview, he said this, and it really got my attention, is he wants to be out across West Virginia in as many communities, small and large, to tell their stories. And, you know, Bob Brunner has done that for more than 4 decades in West Virginia. And he said, hey, look, I've told the same 200 stories 4 or 5 times. And he goes, it's always a different take on it. Somebody learns something new. But Bob's going to help with that in 2023 as well. He's going to be out in the field and taking place. So, you know, we're excited about bringing Bob in to anchor the legislature today. And I told you last year we'd be back, and we are. And I just saw the authorization for our remote setup up outside the Senate reception room. It's been approved, and we also, Bob in all likelihood is going to be set up in the basement of the Culture Center. There's the state's largest green room was constructed in there, and it's a quick walk for lawmakers to be able to come over there if we need them to be able to interview them as well. And it's a nice, quiet spot, and you know, we're looking forward to having him on board. And it's the clock's ticking, because today is the 14th, and if I'm doing my math right, it's 28 days, which is
a couple holidays thrown in the middle there too. So
it's 4 weeks from today.
Excuse me, but taking over the green room, the green room will be able to be utilized when it needs to be utilized?
The green room's available to us 100% of the time.
So what happens when Mountain Stage or any other group comes there? What happens?
To the green room?
Yeah, to the green room.
Mountain Stages does not use the green room.
The green screen is what he's referring to.
Yeah, it's
the green screen.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the conference room. It's yeah,
The
I call it the green room.
the
It's the largest
Oh,
green
yeah,
screen in
okay,
the
all right,
state
all right.
where we can background and everything, and it's straight down the hallway from there, in the culture center. So it's actually another studio.
I
for us.
understand what the green, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, and kind of moving on, our engineering, and if you take a look at that real quick, it kind of, those are pictures of Garfield Avenue and the upgrades that were done to secure our facility up there. You know, we were off the air for quite some time, FM wise, over the summer. We endured the copper theft. We endured 2 lightning strikes, and now we're into an argument with Brim over getting reimbursement because they don't think that there was any lightning. So all you had to do was go up there and take a look in the building and look at the black burn marks and the fried transmitter. But that's a whole other story, folks, and I'll not get into that. But Tyler Garner's been very active with getting our tower sites across the state assessed, and over the next 24 months, there are major renovations and upgrades scheduled for pretty much every single site. So we did receive, and Maryland, we received a bequest of $100,000, I do believe. Is that correct? Am I right on that amount? From Jerry Davis, from Elkins, for the upgrade of the radio.
You know, possibly. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah. We did receive a request, and I don't know, Rita, you probably know who Jerry Davis might be. I'm not sure. He did, the last documentary he did was on Frank Kearns at WVU, who was the professor of broadcast journalism. But again, for those of you who are my age or older, he was CBS News' chief correspondent in the Middle East back in the late 60s and early 70s. And, you know, he covered all the hot issues, and he and Walter Cronkite were probably about as good as buddies as there were. He was actually my advisor in the broadcast sequence at WVU when I was there in the late 70s and 80s. And, you know, he had a room, an office full of pictures with people from all over the world. And Jerry did that documentary, and it was award-winning. It's on Passport. It is on Passport. But he left West Virginia Public Broadcasting. He unfortunately passed away. He left public broadcasting $100,000 to upgrade our radio service in the Elkins area. Jerry grew up in Elkins. I was 6 years younger than Jerry, but I knew him all my life, and he was such a staunch supporter of public radio, and he left us that gift, and it's going to be used to upgrade our translators up there. Elkins has needed a lot of work for a long time, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to do it, and that one just kind of showed up one day. So we're excited about that, but that's part of the overall picture on our projects. I would tell you that our new website will be launching on January the 23rd, and I'm so excited about that because it's going to give everyone a much better opportunity to learn about public broadcasting, to access our information. There'll be an updated calendar on there. I mean, it's really going to make a huge difference, folks. And Liz McCormick and Eddie have been working on this for months now with the folks at Digital Relativity, and I think when you see it, you're going to understand what the difference is. We're going from a fair, which what I would call our website fair at best, to something that's outstanding, and it's really going to help us get out the word about what public broadcasting is and what programs are available. And I think when you see it, you'll be really surprised and happy, because it's been a long time in the works, and we're working on. We've been involved with digital relativity now intensely for 9 months. So Liz has done a wonderful job since she got in there, and I'm sure she's going to be tickled when it's done, and because it'll allow her to really do her job as the webmaster does. So, let me move on through. We have 2 improvement requests that have gone to the legislature for this year, and those requests are to fund the employment of 2 additional engineers. We've requested this the last 2 years, haven't received it, but we're continuing that request. And then the other request, and Brian and I had this discussion with some other folks, you all pay, our utility bills are run about $525,000 a year. The Friends of Public Broadcasting, for whatever reason, and I can't answer this, folks, because I wasn't here, pay about $400,000 a year for those utilities. And that's not right. There's no other state agency, I promise you, that doesn't have their utilities paid for the operation of the building. So that $400,000 has been put into a request to the legislature to pay the utilities. Like I say, I don't know how it got to that point, and it really doesn't matter, but the Friends of Public Broadcasting shouldn't be out having to pay that type of money. We can use that money to support our programming and everything else that we do. And those are our 2 key requests for the legislature. So when you're out there and you're talking to your lawmakers, I think they're 2 no-brainers. But again, this is the 3rd year in a row the request has been put in for the additional engineers, and we just have to hope that the message is finally going to get sent, and we're going to get that. So that's, I'm sure I've missed a lot of other things, but I don't want to keep you here the rest of the afternoon. I know we've been at it for a while, but I'm glad to answer any questions you might have, and any of our staff will as well. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a quick question, actually 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
I see that we've partnered with the Office of the First Lady. Question number 1, does she have an office in the Capitol?
She does not, and when we say partnership there, that is clearly directed solely at the Communities and Schools program. And what we've done is to help publicize communities and schools. And when you say, that may not be the best word for us there, but.
Well, exactly how do we partner with her in that then?
We've done 2 documentaries on the Communities and Schools program.
But
the
how does that
establishment of the
affect
program, and then the establishment of the therapy dogs in the schools. We featured those 2 things.
Okay, that doesn't include baby dogs then?
It does not. No, it does not. So we've produced 2 documentaries focused on communities and schools, and I would encourage you all to go in and watch both of those documentaries as well.
Other questions for Butch? Comments? Rita?
Butch, how about the reduction in your revenue from not leasing to the other organization here? Is that reflected somewhere in your budget?
it's already built in there, Rita. It's at $25,000 is what they pay. And now that not only includes rent, we pay all the utilities that are involved with that. But we were out of space. And this was discussed with the EBA board back in January. You know, like I say, we have people that are calling on top of each other, and
Oh, I understand, because I used to have, my office was right here in that corner, but I didn't know about that revenue that you had from leasing, and if that's, you're able to.
you know, our budget's set up to absorb that. And the other thing I would tell you is, we have a 26,000 square foot building in Morgantown that's sitting up there that we in essence have 5 employees working in. Now, some of that space is leased right now, but it's a terrible waste of money. And we're in negotiations with West Virginia University right now. And public broadcasting by the end of 23, I would see us not being in that building any longer. We'll be in a more modern facility on the campus of WVU, and it only makes sense because if you, and Rita, certainly you would know about this, that building has multiple structural problems, especially the roof, and it makes no sense for us to spend between $500,000 and $1 million to repair that roof, to have that up there. And, you know, Scott Avenue, and that's where the building is, folks. That's a prime location. There's not a better view of the town of Morgantown from anywhere in that entire area than that boardroom that's in that building. You know, but it's been there 40 years, and it's severely deficient in every area in that structure, and we can't be in there anymore just for a handful of folks, and then to lease space to others because it doesn't make good sense for us, and we are wasting money right now operating that building. So we're going to get to that. And again, the discussion, I've already been in contact with folks at WVU. I've been there for a couple of different meetings now, and we're going to have about 2,500, 3,000 square feet where all the technology is there, and it just makes sense for us.
Great.
Makes sense for us to do that. So,
Serious.
any other questions? Any questions for the staff?
I do have just a quick question. It's probably more for Adam. When you're talking about trying to attract people to come to Mountain State on Sundays, like my husband and I would love to come. And this may already exist. We're coming from Wheeling, so we would want to stay over. Like, is working with the local visitor center or something like to suggest a hotel? Like, I don't know all the hotels. What's walkable to there?
On our website, we have a list of our local
You do?
partners.
Okay.
To the Charleston
Okay.
CC, you know,
Okay.
they give us $25,000, so we try to stay Charleston everywhere we can.
Because I would support, I'd want to support those hotels, those restaurants, and then stay over that night, go to those restaurants that support, you know, Mountain State. So.
Yeah, there's a link on there.
Okay.
If people were diligent enough to find it. There's not a discount or anything at Marriott, but we encourage folks to support the Marriott.
Okay.
We mentioned Taylor Books on there and a couple of the downtown restaurants.
Okay. And I apologize, because I have not looked, that just came to mind.
I have some comments.
I think they closed. Bluegrass Cafe, have they closed?
Yes.
I would suggest.
We went by last time today.
I don't know what instruction you've been given about creating this document, but I would encourage everybody on the phone to look at this. This is really a good, very helpful document, I think. But I have some suggestions that you might consider. You know, if space won't allow it or whatever, but one is including something, programs like John's documentary. And, you know, we've had a lot of national awards and other stuff, so I would encourage you to throw a section in here, a little section about various awards that we won. And then isn't there a science program or something? There's a young woman that hosts some science program or something.
It's not really our program, the department that hires us. It's not our program.
But we partner with them, right? We create it?
Yeah.
I mean, so I would encourage you to put something in there about all the outreach that Christie's done around the state to get the word out and, you know, telling West Virginia's story, right? Then I would suggest that you put something in here, even if it's just one line here at the beginning, about how much money we raise from grants and from the Friends. Because when we're gonna be talking to the legislature, we should be able to say, this is really a good investment. You're investing this much money, but people are ponying up on their own for this. And people that are awarding grants are doing this. And then the other thing we had talked about, but should we have a request here to start on an amortization schedule where we're regularly repairing things? We had talked about that too, you know, so that.
Yeah. It's not currently in the budget request for fiscal '23, but it can be put in for fiscal '24. The budget request is put together, and we send our thoughts to the curator, and he makes the presentation and makes the final decisions on what our budget's going to look like the first week of October. And, you know, Tammy and I have had this discussion before. I'm not involved in that presentation, so, you know, there's a lot of things that, you know, I think can be added to those things. And by the way, and this can be, this budget document can be adapted, but I think we're limited to 7 pages that we have to do it, because this is a document that'll be a part of the Department of Arts, Culture, and History, that because our agency is under Arts, Culture, and History, this goes in as part of that to support our budget. So, but we can clearly, you know, adjust the information that's in here, but it's clearly a working document as far as we're concerned. It really explains what we do and how we go about it. So I appreciate the suggestions.
Sure. Other questions or comments for Butch? We're on to other matters, and I think that in light of the fact that you've gotten requests in here and that you're going to be have had trouble getting it over the line before, maybe we ought to allocate money to hire somebody for legislative monitoring again this session. What does everybody else think? Last year we spent $10,000.
I agree with it, Brian.
I would too, Nick.
We talked about it in the program committee, and I think the consensus there was that we really needed to look at doing that again this year. Things could come up really quickly, and with a super majority, it could move so fast that we wouldn't even have time to react if we didn't have somebody paying attention for us.
I agree.
Same here.
What happened.
So, can I get a motion to authorize up to $15,000 to hire somebody for legislative monitoring?
So moved.
I would second.
Is there discussion? Who was the contractor? And in the past, we've had other people do it. A lot of them did it at a greatly discounted amount. The county did because they support the organization. Is there further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Declare the motion adopted. Is there other business to be brought before the group? You have a motion to adjourn? So moved. All right, we're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Hearing one.